Welcome back everyone, and today I'm bringing you a deck profile on my Megalith deck. So let's get right into it. Megaliths are ritual monsters that can essentially ritual using themselves. You don't need any ritual spells. So that is their one advantage. The only problem with this deck is there is absolutely no built-in negations of any kind. There's hardly any disruptions. So I had to put in a few outside disruptions, but let's get right into it. I run 3 Megalith Hawk. I think that's how it's pronounced. Not sure. This card can be ritual summoned with the Megalith card, although Megaliths do that. If this card is ritual summoned, you can draw 1 card, then discard 1 card. So it's essentially just kind of like a Danger Mothman in a way. And this card has the quick effect to ritual summon on your opponent's turn, which works really good with the Megalith Ether. Next, I run 3 of the Ophiel. That essentially allows you to search for your Megalith monsters. 2 Haggith, that searches for your Megalith spells and traps, which I only run like 3 because the Megalith spell and traps aren't really all that great. There's only 1 trap that's actually even any good, and you don't want to run multiple of that. Next, I run 2 Megalith Ether. This works with the Megalith Auk, because you can use Megalith Auk's quick effect, ritual summon using this and card on your field or in your hand to bring this out. So it could be either like an Auk, then a Haggith, Auk, then an Ophiel, doesn't really matter. And when this card is ritual summoned, you can destroy target cards your opponent controls up to the number of ritual monsters with different names in your grave and destroy them. That's about your only disruption. Next, I run 1 Megalith Phaleg. This is kind of like your attack of the deck, because most of the Megalith monsters have high defense but pretty low attack, and this gives you 300 for each ritual monster in your graveyard. So if you have like 6, you're going to be gaining a lot of attack. And lastly, 1 Megalith Araton for the Megalith rituals. Araton is this is the only other one that has a quick effect aside from Auk. And this is essentially anytime a card effect is activated that targets a Megalith card, that targets a card I control, I can place 1 ritual from my grave onto the bottom of the deck, and if I do, negate the activation, and if I do, destroy it. So this one's not too bad. Next, I run 3 Incantation Chalice Slime. It's a ritual based deck, of course you gotta run the incantations. And I run 1 Necros of Unicorn. The Necros of Unicorn essentially negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field that were special summoned from the extra deck. It's pretty good. Considering most of the Megaliths are level 4s. Next, I run 3 Manju of the Thousand Hands. With this deck, you hardly do any normal summoning at all, so you can run this no problem, and this searches essentially a ritual monster. So that's pretty good. Now for the incantations, I run 2 Pencil Plume, 2 Talismandra, and 1 Kendall. Considering there's not many, in fact there's only 1 ritual spell in this entire deck, this really isn't needed as much, but you can get it to your hand. This is essentially add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and this is from your grave to your hand. Next, I run 1 Block Dragon. Block Dragon essentially works with basically like any Earth deck. And the Megaliths are also a rock deck, so it protects all your Megaliths, as well as if it's sent to the grave, you can add up to 3 rock monsters from your deck to your hand, whose total levels equal 8. So that's pretty good. And lastly, Bust Rope of the Destruction Sword, because gotta add negates somewhere. Now for the spells. Are 2 of the field spell Megalith Portal. This card's okay. Aside from battle protection, because the first time each card would be destroyed by battle, it is not. Or for the ritual summon monsters, at least. However, when you ritual summon a Megalith monster, if a Megalith monster is special summoned, it allows me to add 1 ritual monster from my grave to my hand. And with the Megaliths, considering they can use themselves as their own ritual kind of spells, that definitely helps to add kind of like extend plays. I run the 1 Incantation Inception, 2 Preparation of Rites. Pre-preparation of rites isn't as good in this because that allows you to add a ritual and a ritual spell, but we don't really have any. We only run 1 ritual spell and an Inception, so pre-preparation of rites just isn't as useful. But this one still works just fine. Now next is a card I don't have. I wish I did, but it is expensive. And that is Triple Pot of Extravagance. Aside from like a 1 Link monster, for the most part, your extra deck does not matter at all. So you can run 3 of these without any worry. Next, I run 3 Mystical Space Typhoon for my spell and trap removal. Because this deck does not have any built-in spell and trap removal. And Mystical Space actually got a lot stronger. With the whole Master Rule 5, there are some new rules that were added, and Mystical Space Typhoon actually negates now. So, yeah, this card got a lot better with Master Rule 5. Next, moving on to traps, which I run 3. 1 Megalith Emergence. Megalith Emergence allows you to special summon 1 Megalith monster from your grave in defense position, so that's really good. And 2 Infinite Permanents. Now moving on to the extra deck. Now for the extra deck, it doesn't really matter what you put in there. If you just want to put in generic good cards, that's fine. Although there is 1 card you do want to run 3 of in this deck. And that is 3 Cross Sheep. When you ritual summon to zone Cross Sheep points to, it allows you to draw 2 and discard 2. That's pretty good. So out of all the monsters in your extra deck, this is probably the best one. Now next, for just a bunch of good links, I run Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, Mrs. Radiant, IP Masquerena, Union Carrier, Nightmare Unicorn, Boral Sword, Forload, and Saryuja. Just essentially I just run a bunch of good links. Union Carrier is one of your negate options for this deck, which I sadly do not have. Now lastly, I run 3 XYZs because this deck can play a rank 4 engine, because half the Megaliths are level 4s. So I run 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Abyss Dweller, and 1 Daigusto Emerald. Well, that's it for this deck profile. Let me know, did you think there was any cards I missed I should have put in this deck profile? leave a comment, and yep, I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.